Hey guys, this is Chubbs, and today I just wanted to do something a little bit different by showing you the 4 Mario Maker stages that I've uploaded. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to kind of play through these levels, talk to you about what I thought when I was designing them, show you some secrets that you might not have otherwise found if you'd played them without seeing this first, and so on. So the very first level that I uploaded back on September 18th is Welcome to the Jungle. So this is a new Super Mario Brothers U level. It's a really just a traditional platformer level. It doesn't do too many crazy things, but you can see the ID there, and when I pull up each of these stages the ID will be shown. So if you guys want to, you can kind of pause the video, write down this ID or enter it in on Mario Maker if you have a copy, and play through the level before I show you my very own playthrough, just in case you want to experience it for yourself before you see me spoil everything. But nonetheless, we're going to go ahead and get started here. And like I said, this is very much a traditional platformer level through and through. It's something like you might see in a traditional Mario game. But I wanted the beginning of the level to have something a little bit different. So you can see this setup that I have with a tunnel that's producing a mushroom and then a mushroom that's being bounced off to the right. I wanted this to be a little bit more different, or a little bit different from your normal Mario level where you kind of move forward and then hit a block and reveal a mushroom and then move along. I wanted the player to get a mushroom in a different way on this level. So notice that these coins are going up diagonally here. I wanted to put this row of coins there to kind of clue the player in that you're supposed to do a diagonal jump and get the mushroom in midair, just like I did there. So once you grab the mushroom, you can take this platform across, and this turtle comes in handy for these coins down below because you can kick its shell and collect the coins without having to go down there yourself. And I also put that sound effect there to kind of congratulate players if they did that. Not that it's very hard to miss, but I wanted just to kind of pat the player on the back for doing that nonetheless. But at this point, you can see these arrows pointing, and these sort of let you know that there are several routes through the level. And that's really this level's selling point, is that you have several routes that you can take. So you can go immediately across to the right. You can go down below there at the lower right. You can cut back and go up top here along these treetops. And there's also a bit of a secret route that you can find here at this tunnel. This leads to like almost like an alternate stage that eventually pops you out at the end. So you can see these, you just saw a spiny fall down there. Those spinies are up top, and we're going to take care of them right now because I'm going to show you this top route first. So if we go across and hit this coin block, we reveal a turtle, and its shell will be very useful for taking out one of those spinies you just saw and his buddies. So we'll take out the spinies and we'll go across, and if you allow the shell to take out these Goombas, you get a 1-up from it. So I purposely put just enough spinies and Goombas on the level to get the player a 1-up if they hit all of them with it. Now this shell also comes in handy for this section you see below us here, because if you go over to the right and slide down, you can do a wall jump across and get these coins, and then you can hit these blocks here and allow the shell to come down, and it'll then hit these coin blocks until it's got them all for you. So that's the top path. If you were to take the middle path, you would, I'm going to go ahead and get these coins and come back. You would encounter this Goomba, and then you have these 3 blocks here. The one on the far left and the far right are just coin blocks, and then the one in the middle is a mushroom. This mushroom here is handy like if you messed up at the beginning and you didn't do the jump quite right and somehow missed that falling mushroom. But that's the middle path. You can just use this block here to get up, and the lower path just leads to these coins that you see, and then just like the middle path, you can use this block, that musical note block, to bounce yourself up. Now if you were to go all the way across to the right, you'll encounter a flying Koopa, and you can bounce off it to get up here, and this is another coin block. And notice these coins below me pointing upwards. I purposely put them in an arrow shape to to let the player know that there's something special up top. Now, that arrow's not referring to this block that I just hit, but rather the block above it. So you have to reveal it, you actually have to jump on here. Otherwise, like if you're right here and you jump up, you won't see it. So you have to jump here to be able to reveal it. And this block is very important because it reveals a fire flower, and that fire flower is going to be very useful at the end of the stage. You're going to see why here in just a little bit. But let's go ahead, and you can use a series of wall jumps to get these coins. And this is the end of the stage right here, but we're not going to go all the way to the right just yet because I want to take you guys through the tunnel section and show you all what that's like. So let's go right back across, and let's go down the tunnel. So like I said earlier, this is like a sub area that is more or less an alternate route throughout almost the entire level. This is a pretty lengthy underground section, and once you come out, you're going to come out near the end. So at the start, you just kind of jump across, and from this point onwards, you're going to be riding a lot of these moving platforms. Now, when I designed this level, I wanted these platforms to be faster, but really the only faster type of platform is the blue skull, which it just doesn't behave like I wanted it to. So I just had to stick with these slow blue platforms. And those coins that you saw back there, I meant to say, were going along the paths left and right, almost like tree leaves, because I wanted to stick with the jungle theme. But I'm not sure if anyone who played the level actually caught that or not, since it's just such a subtle thing. But nonetheless, once you've avoided the saw blades and gone all the way across, you get this mushroom, and then you can bounce yourself up through this tunnel, and you come out where we were earlier, here at the end of the stage. Now, remember what I said about the fire flower being a very important power-up. Now you're going to see why that is here. So at the end, you're faced with two hammer brothers, and this fire flower makes taking care of them very easy. Because if you didn't have the fire flower, you would have to bounce on top of them, and of course it's tricky to do that and avoid their hammers. So the fire flower it makes it a piece of cake. So if you get that secret, you're pretty much set. If you want to avoid the hammer brothers, I put like an easy path down here below that allows you to bypass them and grab the bottom of the flagpole. But if you want to get to the top of the flagpole, you got to take the hammer brothers out and then run and jump across here. So that is the end of Welcome to the Jungle. Like I said, just very much a traditional platformer level, nothing too crazy. This next level you're going to see is a little bit more creative, and it is Mario Goes Skyward. Now this also uses the new Super Mario Bros. U game or theme, and you guys can see the ID there for the level if you'd like to pause the video and enter that in yourself and play it. But this is a level that I guess you could say it was inspired by Mario Galaxy, because I envisioned these mid-air landmasses that you would go to, and each landmass would be like its own little puzzle or its own special thing. But I'm not sure I managed to pull that off quite as well as I'd hoped for due to some of the limitations, because you can't really mess with gravity in Mario Maker or anything like that. But I tried to do as much with it as I could and make it a unique stage. So I'm going to go ahead and play it, and I'll talk you guys through it. And right off the bat, you can see how you have a very unique beginning, because you can't really go to the right. There's nothing you can jump on, but there is a flying block that arrives, and if you hit the block right as it gets to this arrow, it reveals a vine, and then you can get these coins if you hit it here in this right spot. Now if you were to hit it way over here or wait for it to get way over here, then you would end up really not being able to get these coins. Jumped across and fell down. But this is where the stage really begins. This is where you start doing your left to right traditional Mario style stuff. There's also a secret over here to the left that most people have probably not found. If you jump up, you have a 1-up. In retrospect, I probably should have put some sort of a hint here, because this is a really obscure secret that it's not made obvious in any way. But as we go across, you'll start to see the what I was talking about when it comes to Mario Galaxy, where you have like these different land masses or planetoids that you're going across. So up here you have a mushroom and a coin block, and then I wanted this to be a really easy part here, just to show the player how these spike beetles work. And I really liked using these enemies because, unlike Goombas or the green turtles, these enemies just crawl all around instead of just going to the edge and falling off. So these enemies came in handy on a stage like this, and you'll see me using them all throughout it. So here's another secret that I'd say not many people have found. If you drop straight down, you have a section here where you can get a bunch of coins, and then you can use these musical notes to bounce yourself back up here. And you can use that caterpillar to kind of get the final bounce if you want to. And there's another spike beetle. Like I said, you'll see them used all throughout this level. And I wanted this part here to feel kind of like a zip line that you're riding down or something. And this also leads to another secret that I'm going to show you guys. So you jump up and you ride it down, and normally you jump off right there. But if you ride it all the way down here, you have these donut blocks that you can jump across. And you can reveal a vine here. And this vine takes you way up to where you can jump across and get these coins up on this mushroom, because there's really no other way to get up here otherwise. If you try and jump, you can't really jump high enough to get up there, so you got to use this vine. Now if you had jumped off right here, you would just continue across, and you have a chomp here. You gotta be really careful when you're making this jump across to get these coins, because if you're not careful, it's easy to land on him accidentally. And then you have a block here with a mushroom in it. I wanted this to be sort of like a semi-puzzle setup, because if you just hit the block like this and you don't bust the brick, then the mushroom's going to be bounced off the stage like you just saw. So what I intended for the player to do is to not bust the brick, because if you want the mushroom, you're gonna if you need the mushroom, you're gonna have to be small Mario. But what I intended for the player to do was to hit the block, reveal the mushroom, and then as a small Mario, jump up and bounce the mushroom over this way instead of breaking the brick. So this is probably the most tricky part of the level. You have these small platforms, and you have these paths that these coins are going along, but you also have these spike beetles that are going across or circling around these land masses or these platforms. And I wanted each successive platform to get tougher and tougher. So the first platform just has one spike beetle. The one that I'm on now has two of them, and then the third one has these blue spike beetles, and the blue ones travel faster than the red ones do, so it's a little bit easier or a little bit tougher to time it just right. To reward the player for getting over here, though, I put a 1-up mushroom instead of just coins, so you get a bit of a reward for doing it right and then waiting for it. And I missed that last coin there, but we'll continue along. And to keep with the theme of the past, I've put some blocks here on the past, and these just have coins in them. And this part here sort of harkens back to the beginning of the stage, where you move to the right and then you don't really have anywhere else to go. So you have to get this suit power up from that cannon, and then use its propeller ability to send you up in the air and move along. So at this point you have to kind of fly across the level. I wanted to give the player a brand new way of getting across the level instead of just simply jumping from platform to platform. Now this is a bit of a shoddy design from me here. I'm not sure I like how I did this, because I have another block that gives you a yet another propeller suit power up, but that's kind of silly, because if you make it here, you're probably still going to have the propeller suit, otherwise you would have fallen down and died. So in retrospect, I probably should have made this a coin block or just done something different with this area. But nonetheless, we'll continue along, and notice that I've arranged the coins in such a way that tells the player what he's supposed to do. It tells the player you're supposed to jump And then when you sort of get to the bottom of the first peak of coins, or the first row of coins, you have to spin to get the rest. But that's Mario Goes Skyward. So, like I said, I think it's a more creative stage than Welcome to the Jungle, but it is still very much just a traditional Mario level, I guess. But this third stage here, Mariotroidvania, is definitely my biggest and most creative, unique, ambitious level that I've done. And as the name implies, this is meant to be a Metroidvania style stage where, just like in Metroidvania games, you'll come across areas that you can't really bypass at first. So you have to backtrack and get like a certain sort of power up or ability, and then come back to that place later on, and then you can bypass whatever obstacles were there. So I really wanted to achieve that, and in order to do that, I had to use the Super Mario World theme. So I didn't choose Super Mario World just for its graphics or anything like that. I chose it because of its gameplay mechanics, like the ability to break blocks by spin jumping, and the ability to flip blocks and then jump up through them and things like that. You're going to see that here as I play this level. But once again, you guys can, if you want to get this ID and play it, you can feel free to go ahead. But we're going to go ahead and start the level now, and I will walk you through it. And something else that's really unique about this stage, and that you'll sort of notice right off the bat, is how few enemies it has. This stage is very light on enemies. I wanted this to be a level that focuses much more on exploration and puzzle solving than platforming necessarily, and fighting enemies and things like that. So right off the bat, you're kind of faced with a bit of a puzzle, because you can't really jump high enough to get through here. You can jump high enough to hit these blocks and spin them, but you can't make the jump to get up top. So you have to continue here along the right. And this is a tricky spot here, because you definitely don't want to touch these plants, otherwise you're going to die. But you have to go across here, grab this spring, and then take it back, and use this spring to get up. So right off the bat, I wanted to kind of set the theme and let players know that this is a different type of level. This is not just your average left to right Mario level where you kind of, you go left to right until you beat the level. This is definitely much different. So if we go to the left here and go up top, you'll notice that we have a cannon that's firing out a fire flower power up. However, we don't have any way to get down here. In order to break these blocks, if you've played Super Mario World, you know that you have to have a mushroom. You have to be a big Mario to break these blocks by spin jumping. So we're going to have to come back here later. So let's go back down, and instead of going left, let's go to the right. You can see some more blocks here. We also can't get up through here yet. So here's an area where you can jump up. You got to be very careful here, because since we don't have the mushroom yet, one hit and we're done for. This is a tricky area, and these are some of the few enemies that you'll see in this stage. So we have some coins, and I wanted the player to get up here and to see over here and realize that there's some good stuff. There's a block there and some coins, and I just wanted to have. I wanted to give the player a glimpse of where he's going to eventually end up, but is still not able to access just yet. So we will return to where we were, and if we go here to the middle, you can get a whole bunch of coins, and we'll continue to go across from left to right. And here's another place that the player can't access yet. So we will fall down and get these coins, and then this, if we go left, we just kind of end up where we were before. So we will go right, and here's another set of blocks that we can't bust through yet. We need the mushroom for those. Here's just a little bit of platforming. This level doesn't have too much platforming, at least in the form of like dangerous platforming sections where you can fall and die, but this is definitely one of them that it has. So you can get those coins, and if you go across here, you can get a one-up mushroom. I decided to kind of stick it in the corner to make it not necessarily hidden, but just kind of put it out of the way, so if the player goes up here and explores, that they're rewarded for it. But we will go across, grab these coins, and this is the first place that we can really access. So I wanted to design this area here, and really all of the power-up areas, so that when the player gets in them, they can't get out of them until they figure out what the power-up allows them to do. So here's an example. So you can jump up through this platform, but now that we're up here, there's no way that we can get out of this area. So when you get this mushroom, we now have the ability to break blocks. So what the player has to do is they have to figure out that you can spin and break blocks in order to exit. So I wanted each power-up place to be a learning experience for the player, so that the player then carries those skills with them throughout the rest of the level to complete it. Now there was also a section there that you just saw to the lower right, but we're not going to go there yet because we're not really able to do anything there. So we can use the spin ability to break these blocks and finally get these coins. And then we will go all the way to the left where we were earlier, where the fire flower power up was, if you remember, and get that. So we can finally break these blocks and get the fire flower power up. But just like before, there's no way out of here until you use your ability. I purposely made this too high for the player to jump out of, so that you have to get over here and figure out that this ability allows you to take out these spiked Koopas, or Spinies, or whatever you call them, and then spin jump and break these blocks. And you'll see that same setup there with the Spinies on top of the blocks here later on. They're going to be in that lower right area that I talked about, where those moving platforms were that I didn't go to. So remember that I let the player get up top here to look over. You can use that. The player can use that knowledge here to get that block that was up there. I'm going to try and get this spring just right. And in that block is a 1-up power up, or a 1-up bonus, or whatever you want to call it. So normally it'd be tough to kind of see that block. Really the only way you can see it's here, but you know, I wanted the player to remember seeing that block and to get it that way. So you have to spin to get out of here. Again, constantly teaching the player that they need to spin to get those blocks, or to break through those blocks. And we will now proceed to where we were before and go to that lower right platform. Now one thing about this level is time's not really going to be on your side, so we've got to hurry up here. The clock's starting to run a little bit low. So we'll do a little bit more platforming, and we're at a similar setup here to what we saw when I got the fire flower power up. So there's no other way down here other than to use my ability and to take out these Spinies. So we can now get through here. And this time we're going to get the cake power up. And I want to teach the player here that the cape can be used to take out these horizontal blocks. So time's not on our side again, so we're going to have to hurry here. So I'm going to quickly get back to where we were. And if you guys remember, we had some horizontal blocks up top where we were earlier that were near some doors. So we're going to try and get up there. One way you can get up there quickly is you can fly just like that. And we will take care of these horizontal blocks and go through. Now if you just do this, you're not going to be able to get up here. So what you have to do is you have to come back and go through this second door instead. I'm going to have to do this quick before I run out of time. Get these coins, get this spring, carry it with you, take it here, back through, get these blocks, get the spring again, and then you can use this spring to launch yourself up here. And at this point you can just kind of spin jump your way through and get some of these coins if you'd like to. There's also a 1-up you can get, and then we will continue, and this is really the end of the level here. I'm going to have to hurry before the time runs out on me. But you just kind of platform through and keep going till you get to the end. You got to be careful here. This is a tricky spot, and we are at the exit. So you can see that's a pretty large level. I wish there was a way to increase the time limit, but I think the max is like 500 or something like that. And I would really like to give levels like an unlimited time limit if they're long levels like the one you just saw. But I guess they, you know, like for the the Mario challenge that they have. They don't want players to be in a level too long or something like that. I don't know, but nonetheless, I hope you guys enjoyed that. That's a level that I'm proud of, just because of the way it kind of has that Metroidvania vibe going for it, where you have to do a lot of backtracking, a lot of exploring, and it's got some puzzle solving in it. I do wish that I had some more enemies in it, but the one of the main reasons that I didn't put many enemies in there is because so many enemies in Super Mario World can be picked up and thrown once they're defeated, and those enemies could be used to take out those spinies that were on top of the flip blocks. Because see, I didn't want the player to be able to access that area, those flip blocks, without having the fire flower power up. So that would end up kind of breaking the level if you could grab enemies and just throw them and take out the spinies that way. So that's my reasoning for not having many enemies there. But like I said, I hope you guys enjoyed that. And now that we've seen those 3 levels, we're going to go ahead and take a look at my last one that I've made. So I made this one on September 28th, or I uploaded it on September 28th. And this is, I think, of all my levels, probably the most unique. And this was inspired by those rocket barrel levels from Donkey Kong Country Returns, where you're kind of flying on a barrel on these left to right stages that are constantly moving, and you have to try and dodge these obstacles and so forth. So the name of this one, as you can see, is Fiery Clown Car Escape, and this again uses the new Super Mario Brothers U theme. And once again, also, you have the ID there if you guys would like to copy that down and give it a shot before I play it. But like I was saying, this is inspired by those rocket barrel levels. So this is a sort of a fast-paced scrolling stage. It's constantly scrolling, and you're using this clown car here to dodge obstacles and so forth until you reach the end. So this is it's a pretty fast-paced stage. So I think rather than talking you guys through it, I'm just going to play it and kind of let you watch it, and I might make some comments on it here near the end. So let's go ahead and play it, and I'll sort of shut up and let you guys watch it. One comment that I do want to make here is I put these coins here on purpose to kind of guide the player through it. I originally wasn't sure about having the coins because I thought it would make it a little bit too easy to show the player the right path, but I settled on having them anyways to, I guess, not be too brutal. Alright, we have reached the end. So as you can see, that's a pretty fast-paced and intense stage. You have to be very careful. I took a hit there near the end, almost died. I was afraid I was going to die there. But like I said, that level is inspired by the rocket barrel levels. It was a challenge to make, because when you have a stage like that that's constantly scrolling left to right, your placement of objects has to be very you have to be very careful about the way you place things, because since the stage is going at a constant speed and the player can't really dictate that by like backtracking to the left and then coming back. You have to be careful not to place things in a way that kills them in a real cheap manner. You have to give them time to react, and I'd never really designed a level like that before, so it took me a long time to get everything placed just right. And I think putting the coins like I did, where they kind of guide the player, made it a lot easier. If I didn't have the coins, I imagine it would be a lot more difficult. As you can see here, the clear rate for this level is only 7.5%. I think the clear rate, I don't think it's each person that plays the level, like whether or not they beat it. I think the clear rate is like if someone plays a level, say like 10 times, if they die 9 times, then they finally beat it on the 10th time, then they're gonna end up having a really low clear rate. So That's what that means. It doesn't mean that only 7.5% of the people who played the level have beaten it. It just means that, only I guess only 7.5% of people's attempts have been successful. So, but nonetheless, all that stuff out of the way, those are the 4 levels that I have designed. Hope you guys like what you've seen. I've had a lot of fun using Mario Maker. It's a very unique game, or a very unique tool from Nintendo. It's very easy to use. If you have a Wii U and you are even remotely interested in level design for platformers, I think it's well worth checking out. It definitely has some limitations, like you can't have slopes. You can't have purely vertical levels that, like a really, really tall vertical tower level or anything like that. But you can still get creative with it and do some really cool things. Um, but nonetheless, like I said, I hope you guys like what you've seen. If you have any questions about these levels, or about Mario Maker or anything like that, feel free to ask. And this is Chubb signing out.